this week on Friday, the FBI searched former National Security Advisor John Bolton's home in a probe to find classified records. So, CIA Director John Radcliffe provided FBI Director Kash Patel the intelligence that was the basis of the search warrant used by federal investigators to raid Bolton's home and office. A source familiar with the matter told NBC News. The search began about 7 in the morning as part of an investigation into Bolton's handling of classified materials. And potential instances of such materials being used in leaks to the media. Bolton served in 2 Republican administrations, first as an ambassador to the UN under George W. Bush, and later as Trump's national security advisor during his first term. The two did not part amicably, with the president in 2019 claiming he had fired Bolton, and Bolton claiming that he had offered his resignation in a disagreement. Since that time, Bolton has emerged as a fierce Trump critic, even writing a 2020 memoir about his time in the administration. During that first Trump administration, the DOJ investigated Bolton at that time over classified information and unsuccessfully pursued legal action to stop publication of that memoir. Bolton now joins a growing list of Trump critics on Kash Patel's hit list that the administration has targeted since the inauguration, including former FBI Director James Comey, former CIA Director John Brennan. We got Miles Taylor and Alexander Vindman in there. All of them investigated in just under 7 months were on Patel's roughly 60 name hit list. Jesse, now I'm no John Bolton fan, but this is not a good look.
Yeah, couldn't have happened to a worse guy. Definitely not here's John Bolton. And what John Bolton wants in the government is bad and evil things, nationally, internationally. And this is dictatorship. This is dictatorship. And like all dictators around the world, it doesn't matter what political labels the dictators use. The actual only important thing that ever matters is loyalty, right? We look at Xi Jinping, we look at any of the South American leaders on the right or the left, and you'll notice that they look for corruption and then they look for malfeasance and people who are leaking information. And strangely enough, we only look for the people who aren't loyal to the dictator, right? So when we see Pete Hegseth leaking information to the media in a Signal chat, that's excusable. That's nothing that needs to be like gone into, even if it was just embarrassingly inept, right? But when John Bolton, who's a critic, does the same thing, we pursue that, call it an attack against corruption, call it whatever you want. But it's pretty clear what's going on, which is this is dictatorship. This is making sure people understand as long as you stand with Trump, you can say or do whatever you want. But the second you stop agreeing with Trump, it doesn't matter what you say or do, they'll find some reason to take you down. So that's just as simple as it is.
Yeah, Leslie, man, so it's good to see they're concerned about the handling of classified documents now. I seem to recall Trump had like boxes and boxes and boxes of them stuffed in his bathroom down at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tragedy. It's rules for me and not for thee, and I mean, it is the whole thing is just ridiculous. Bolton, I I read recently I had forgotten that he had called Trump a moron. So they're just going after the critics, trying to silence dissent. It's incredibly unhealthy. There wouldn't be as much dissent if there weren't that many as many problems as there are. Yeah, well, I mean, we're really in a mess right now, America. We're really in a mess, and we need an organized national strike, which I've just read takes a lot of time to organize. I think the protests are wonderful. We can do more with boycotting. But I think sadly, with their 5 stages of grief, is that really realizing this is going to take a long time. This is going to be a fight for the rest of our lives unless something happens that we don't foresee. But I'm just going to go back to Scandinavia. We could be more like Denmark, and we could be more like Finland, um, if we can get our act together and clean house. But it's really going to be a challenge to tackle these dark triad personalities, which are more likely to occur where there's more income inequality and less like gender equality. So, the more we can rein in this rampant toxic capitalism and, restore women's rights, the more things will return to a healthy situation. But dismantling regulations and poisoning our air and water, and trying to keep our population ignorant, going after universities, is not the way to sustainability. And we really are going to need to educate more voters, I think, in Indiana, because one of our great problems has been voter apathy, and we really are going to need to go door to door and start talking to our neighbors and getting them to come out and vote. And that is my my plea to anybody listening to this in Indiana. All of these things are wonderful, but we really need to have the conversations. And maybe we don't convince somebody on this day, but just we need to put it out there, and we need to go and keep being a stand for being truly healthy, not just performative healthiness. Not the BS, eliminate vaccines when vaccines have been proven to sustain life. So sorry, I got a little bit off topic there, but yeah.
Yeah. Actual health, not Maha. Very, very like a holistic look at just like yeah, our populations. And like I think you said, if we take care of people, right? If you eliminate that equality, if you address people's material conditions, we're not going to have so much to be pissed off about. And there, you don't need demagogues. They don't, they're not appealing if you're well taken care of.